Currently, the fastest supercomputer in the world is Google's super duper quantum computer, and it has around 70 operational qubits of computational speed. It's been used for a number of things. It uses, by the way, a vast amount of water, in fact, more water than an electric car factory. But anyhow, the key point here is that analysts from Morgan Stanley, not just Adam Jonas, but others, believe that the value of Tesla's new Dojo supercomputer, which would be faster than Google's supercomputer, could double the price of Tesla stock, adding $600 billion to its market cap within the next 12 months. As a result, Tesla's stock price has jumped significantly pre-market. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. So, fastest supercomputer in the world, Tesla's quantum computer, can operate at around 46 years faster than its previous fastest computer. Now, I can't really get my head around that idea, but anyway, that's what Google say themselves. However, that runs at around 70 operational qubits. Tesla's new Dojo supercomputer is said to run at over 100 operational qubits, making it significantly faster than Google's supercomputer, and therefore it would be the fastest supercomputer in the world. Now, the key point here is this will enable Tesla to make its full self-driving fully operational. It's like the Death Star becoming fully operational, something like that. Now, if you combine that with the new improvements with Hardware 4, massively improving the camera quality, adding an additional camera, having a better computer in the cars, that will possibly enable the Dojo supercomputer to train the neural network well enough to enable full self-driving in Tesla vehicles. Now, it will happen at some point in time. The only question here is when. Will that be next year or in 10 years' time? Nobody really knows, but clearly Morgan Stanley believe it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And that's what they're telling their investors. Tesla's Dojo supercomputer could power a near $600 billion jump in their market value by boosting the adoption of robotaxis and its software services, said Morgan Stanley's analysts. So have Tesla actually begun building this computer? Well, they have. In fact, they started building it a few months ago. Production of the supercomputer used to train artificial intelligence models for self-driving cars began in July, and Tesla plans on spending over $1 billion on Dojo all the way through to next year. Dojo can open up new addressable markets that extend well beyond selling vehicles at a fixed price, said Morgan Stanley's analysts. The stock on Monday was on track to add around $46 billion in market value. Morgan Stanley is one of Elon Musk's key advisory firms, including on the $44 billion takeover of Twitter, now known as X. Tesla shares has risen pre-market by around 6% to over $260 in trading. Morgan Stanley's analyst report, which was actually sent to their investors, it's like giving them some advice on what investment decisions they should make, said this: if Dojo can help make cars see and react, what other markets could it open up? Think of any device at the edge with a camera that makes real-time decisions based on its visual field. Now, they didn't explicitly state this. It's very clear, though, what they're referring to here. Now, I believe the industry, their minds have been clouded. I want to make this very clear and focus on this point. It's very important to get this point across to you. There are these robots we see from Hyundai Grobus, Boston Dynamics, different companies worldwide that build robots, and they're very impressive. But how long do you think it really takes to build an impressive robot? It's hard work, right? But ultimately, building the body of a person is nowhere near as hard as building the mind. The same can be said for the evolution of the human being, right? Our minds have evolved drastically over the course of billions and billions of years. Now, the same thing applies to a neural network. That is the true brain behind the robot. You can subcontract to get anyone to build you, not anyone, but a number of companies to build you a robot if that's what you want to do. But what you really need to focus on is the brain inside that robot. Get that robot brain to learn, to be able to learn from everything, anyone around it, and suddenly you have a workforce. You replace your entire workforce with robots. Guess what? They don't call in sick. They work 24 hours a day. They don't need meal breaks. They don't complain. They don't have insurance problems or back problems. They don't argue with you about payments, how much you should be paying them. They don't accuse you of racism. They don't have any fights, sexism, all of that. None of that exists. And they work really hard. They have unlimited energy. And all of a sudden, wow, you displace thousands of human jobs, but you make billions of dollars in the process. Morgan Stanley doesn't really want to tell you that. Doesn't really want to say that's what could happen to you. And that's what Tesla potentially are aiming to do. They probably are. But the key point here is this. Sure, Tesla's actual robot they're making, it sucks. It's a lot of work to go. But realistically, does that really matter? What's the key here? The key here is the mind of the robot. And Dojo supercomputer could not only possibly help Tesla to solve full self-driving, but give it the ability to power its robots with the AI they need to be fully functional. The Wall Street brokerage upgraded its recommendation on Tesla stock to overweight from equal weight. They made it their top pick, replacing Ferrari's US listed shares. Morgan Stanley raised its 12 to 18 month target on Tesla shares by 60%. To $400 US, the highest among Wall Street brokerages as per LSEG data. It estimated this would give the EV maker a market capitalization of $1.4 trillion. That compares with its current market value today of $789 billion. Jonas expects Dojo to drive the most value in software and services. Morgan Stanley raised its revenue estimate from Tesla's network services business to $335 billion in 2040, from $157 billion earlier. So it's a double. Basically, Morgan Stanley have doubled, in fact, more than doubled their estimate on network services to Tesla being $335 billion in 2040. Now, of course, a part of that is also Tesla's supercharger network, which it's changed drastically, the perception, especially after Tesla's recent deal with the Hilton Hotel chain to install an additional 20,000 electric vehicle chargers. Jonas expects the unit to account for more than 60% of Tesla's core earnings by 2040, nearly doubling from 2030. This increase is largely driven by the emerging opportunity we see in third-party fleet licensing, increased ARPU, or average monthly revenue per user. Tesla has been mentioning how Dojo gives it an edge in AI and self-driving technology since at least 2021. In July this year, Elon Musk told investors that the carmaker plans to invest more than $1 billion on the project by the end of 2024. This base case target from Morgan Stanley would put the stock near its record close of $410 US in November of 2021, and that makes the firm a notable outlier. In fact, their estimates are significantly higher than almost all other Wall Street analysts. So could they be right? Or does being an outlier mean you're probably likely to be wrong? Well, let me know what you think on that in the comments. The average price target among analysts tracked by Bloomberg is $268 US, meaning the price target for Tesla is basically what they're at today by the end of next year. For most analysts, they say Tesla will go nowhere, whereas Morgan Stanley believes otherwise. The more we looked at Dojo, the more we realized the potential for underappreciated value in this stock, the Morgan Stanley analysts said.